How do you invent AI? Well, you have to make three intellectual leaps to pull that off. The first is to imagine that thought is some kind of process. For many, many hundreds and millions of years, we imagined thought was a kind of phenomenon, a kind of fuzzy cloud thing that kind of happened spontaneously. And it was actually a philosopher who came up with the idea that thought was a process, and it was Thomas Hobbes who talked about a train of thought. And that idea about thought sort of coming and going and being in a line unopened a whole way of thinking about thought as something that you could put in a process. So you've already got that. How would you turn that into AI? The next thing you need to figure out is how you would take all these trains of thought from all these different people all around the world who speak different languages in different ways. How would you make those some kind of universal language so that you could communicate with everybody, not just with people who have the same language as you? And that's where you need to make another intellectual leap, which is where we can thank Leibniz, the philosopher, who came up with this idea that you could turn all of these different languages and different words into numbers. And he is really the inventor of the binary code, which is the ones and zeros that we use in all our computing today. So that was making a train of thought into something you could express in numbers. So that helps you with some basics, but how would you turn that into what we now know as AI? Well, you have to be able to figure out how would you turn something which is just a computational machine, kind of adding up numbers, into something that would allow you to express things much more broadly. And for this, we have to thank Charles Babbage to an extent with his difference engine, but also Ada Lovelace, who was translating the notes from a different language and noticed that there was an interesting thing happening in the looms, the jacquard looms that were helping people program different kinds of ribbon making. And she realized that you could use the machine, this binary code idea, not just to use numbers, but to express different kinds of things through numbers that would allow you to do many, many more things. So those three things together, the idea of a train of thought, being able to express that universally in numbers, and then being able to code a machine to be able to do much more than just adding and subtracting, are the things that have set the basis for what we now know as AI.